everyone. That's Brandon.
That's Jamie.
And we need movies. This is the show where we talk about the movies of the week, things we've seen, the news, the trailers, Blu-ray pickups. Brandon's always the one that does that.
I do buy stuff.
I do not buy shit. And we always have a topic. This week's topic is, of course, in honor of Deepwater Horizon, movies based off of real events. Not necessarily people, but events.
Yeah, that might be a later list because biopics are a whole different genre. But let's get into it, Jamie. We both watched the big movie of the week, Deepwater Horizon.
Yeah, we did.
We watched it together. We don't get to see movies that much together, so it's nice. No. It was very nice.
I didn't like it.
Jamie.
I didn't like sitting next to you.
Oh, okay, all right. I was going to say, the movie was good, dude. No. Let's talk about it. Deepwater Horizon, based on the event that took place in 2010, was that correct?
April 2010.
Where the Deepwater Horizon, an oil rig in the middle of the ocean, wound up whole shit went down and wound up spilling millions of gallons of oil into the ocean. Was the biggest natural oil disaster or man-made oil disaster in U.S. history. Directed by Peter Berg, who also did Lone Survivor. This is as part of his unofficial true event trilogy, I guess, because
with Mark
Wahlberg, yes. First was Lone Survivor, then came this, and then Patriots Day, which is due out in January.
Yeah.
It's filled with a fantastic cast of supporting character actors: Kurt Russell, John Malkovich, who's that kid? Dylan O'Brien from The Maze Runner, Ethan Suplee, bunch of just character actors that fill out this cast. I was a huge fan of Lone Survivor. Specifically the sound design and how intense that movie gets in its second to third acts, like, goddamn, man. And this movie is very similarly structured, almost to like they do the set it up with the footage in the beginning from like the original events almost, and then they set up all these characters. Then the second and third acts is just almost nonstop action and intensity, and then the photos at the end of the real people. It's very similarly structured, but I didn't find that to be bad.
No, I mean I didn't really know what to expect going in. I thought they were gonna make it about because I didn't even see the trailer.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I didn't see the trailer. Oh. So I assumed it was about the events leading after the fact, like the investigation. I thought we'd see news reports of the oil like day 35, like we'd seen like when it happened.
Yeah.
And it was more about the event itself, which makes a lot more sense. I don't know why I was thinking the other thing was stupid.
Well, no. I thought they would at least touch upon that. Really, like it ends right after the event, pretty much, and it's not really about the fallout. It's rather just about the event and the people surrounding it.
Up to it, and the incompetent, happenings of BP, and it really made BP the villain, which is pretty interesting.
They do, yeah. John Malkovich is doing like a foghorn leghorn accent.
It's weird.
I was gonna say it's weird at first. Like I kind of bought it. Eventually, it was like fine, but
it's interesting.
It is. Kurt Russell kind of plays, I guess, I wouldn't call him the captain, but he's kind of in charge of a lot of...
Captain Jimmy.
Is he Captain? Oh, yeah, Captain Jimmy.
Yeah.
They said it about 500 times. Mr. Jimmy. Yeah, I was going to say, okay. I didn't know if he was the captain, but he's definitely in a leadership position. And he's kind of at odds with John Malkovich's character over how to safely get the oil up. And I guess they're running behind schedule. Yeah. It also, while it does vilify BP, it does kind of tell at least why they did what they did. Like, you understand that their decisions are poor, very, very poorly judged, but you get like they're behind schedule. They need to make this money. There's also a really cool scene I liked between John Malkovich and Mark Wahlberg with the big executive guy talking to this everyday worker on the ship and how he treats him and how he can understand how he's being treated. And I don't know, there's a lot, it says a lot about just kind of authority figures and how the guys on the ground, the boots on the ground, they really get the job done and whatnot. Peter Berg's definitely one of those filmmakers, I would say along the lines of a more talented Michael Bay, who kind of is like one of those guys who supports and like it's like a high five to these workers. It's all about like the guys on the ground, like they're the main characters, they're the important people. It's not these other people,
scientists or government officials.
Exactly, it's just the people in the middle of this crazy event and how they deal with it.
It's like every character's Randy Quaid in Independence.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But man, Mark Wahlberg gives a really good performance, I thought. Again, he's usually, for the most part now anyway, of recent years, pretty reliable.
It's just such a great time. Like, it's funny because, like you said, he's like the better version of Michael Bay. He does make more competent and I feel more entertaining action movies that, don't really have a lot of substance. I mean, they do talk about a topical or an event, and especially recently, that ends up being a sensitive subject for some people. But I mean, the point is, the action is consistent. I mean, the actors they pull in are always a good time. I mean, like, seriously, between this and Lone Survivor, I mean, say what you will about Mark Wahlberg. He's totally Mark Wahlberg in every movie he's in.
Pretty much.
Like, he's supposed to be some kind of, like, normal guy. Like, no, he's Mark Wahlberg. He lost muscle mass to play this guy. He's still, like, ripped. Okay, dude. But, I mean, like, it's such a great supporting cast that you don't usually see. It's too bad we didn't see this before the ensemble thing we mentioned earlier.
Sure.
Because that was a really good ensemble I didn't expect to see.
Kate Hudson's also really good as his wife. I feel like they actually had a pretty decent chemistry in the short amount of scenes that they have. You believe that they were a couple and whatnot.
So you really feel for her when she's like calling, frantically trying to call and see what happened, and then if there is, all she knew was a fire and all this shit. It was pretty cool. I haven't seen her in a while.
No, and it's actually kind of funny to see her and Kurt Russell in the same movie,
right?
Even though they never share scenes. But stepdad, Goldie Hawn's her, mom. Yeah. This is a movie that I want to revisit. It's a little front-loaded with a lot of exposition, but it doesn't do that thing where it almost explains it, really. It's just the guys talk and the dialogue in which they would say at the workplace, and so you're kind of lost for a lot of it, maybe. You're just like, what the hell? What is happening? But you get it. You know what I mean? It gives you enough to be like, this is realistic enough how they speak to each other, because they don't want to dumb it down and be like, this is what this is. And I'm glad they didn't do that thing which they do with most of these movies, is they bring in some sort of new character that's the vessel for the audience to kind of get taught this whole world. And they don't do that. It's more like you're just kind of dropped into a day.
It's almost like they did that, though. I wonder if those two BP execs were there.
Oh, that's true. You're right.
They weren't really shown around a lot.
Right, but they're given a little bit,
A little bit. But we also went in without them, like the mud and all this. So...
It explains the I didn't really know the process of going, and it's just like some of the shots underwater of just this giant pipe going all the way down. It's visually, he does a lot with it, and I can't imagine how difficult this movie must have been to film. It looks like it was a dirty, gross like production with everyone covered in oil and shit all day long in the middle of the ocean. Like, this must have been fucking terrible to film, but it was a good movie. I liked it.
Yeah, really fun.
Pretty solid entertainment. I'm looking forward to Patriots Day.
Yeah. Which we'll get to later.
We shall. Jamie, we also watched another movie last week. We watched it right after filming, and that was The Neon Demon.
Yes.
Nicholas Winding Refn, this is his follow-up to Only God Forgives.
Yes. So, he pushes the boundaries of what a film means. But, like, there's some scenes in here that I've never felt so, like, disturbed.
Yeah.
And, like, I know it's fake, but it's just, I get lost in the character doing this. Like, why would they do this? Like, especially, like, Jenna Malone has a scene that's really bizarre. And, of course, near the end, there's some other weird things going on, like, with the two models.
Let's set it up. It's about Elle Fanning kind of coming to L.A., and she's 15 years old, lies to everyone, tells them all that she's 19 to get these jobs, and she slowly starts to work her way up this ladder of the model industry, and the models that are around her start to get very jealous, and then fucking shit just goes crazy. It's very...
You explain the plot more than...
It's very hallucinogenic and trippy, and there's a lot of scenes that I guess anyone could really derive what they want from, because they're very just vague, and I don't know what the fuck's happening. I will say that the images are gorgeous, man. Like, a lot of these shots could be paintings, and then coupled with Cliff Martinez's really awesome synth score.
Always good.
It works on a certain level, but it struck me very similar to Only God Forgives, where it's so much like style over substance, and I just can't figure out even the meanings that I get that are like, so a lot of the metaphors are kind of blatant over in your face. It's like, I just don't think that the end result is worth it. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't. You can be vague and weird while still at least just having like a coherent storyline, and it was okay. I don't know, man. It's one that I definitely want to watch again. I loved the sight of Keanu Reeves anytime he's in a movie, and he was good in this. He's a creepy.
He was good. Some weird shit in that movie. I don't like the trailers. Will always get me intrigued. Like with his score, and then Refn's like shots. I'm like, man, I want to see this film. And I remember loving like the trailer. I can't wait to see this movie. And then it's like, why?
No, yeah, I will say by far the most disturbing scene of the year involves Jenna Malone. I did not believe it went that far.
And she persisted to go that far. Like, the director wasn't going to go that far, and she's like, yeah, let's do this. He's like, okay, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Man.
I think he'd be more suited. I mean, I appreciate he has like his own style and his own like way of making films, But like with Bronson, I haven't seen Valhalla Rising yet. But with Bronson, it melded well into a standard storyline, and it made a really compelling film. But then Drive was like that too. Drive was pretty good overall. It had more of a story than this and Neon.
Oh yeah, by far.
This and Only God Forgives, but
I will say, yeah, Drive. At least there's no shots halfway through that are just like, where are we right now, and who is this, and what is happening? What is this triangle?
Yeah, right.
Like, it's very kind of under the skin, like almost in its seeming randomness at times.
Yeah.
But I really want to see him do a movie that's been, you know what I want to see his version of like a big budget movie now. I've seen what he can do when he has total control over all this shit, and it's just too much. He doesn't know when to pull back, and I feel like if there's he's one of the few rare directors that I just want to see one picture of his by a studio that they're like, this is your script. We know you're a fantastic filmmaker. Bring your style to this, but it's a script. You have a lot of money. You have this riding on you, so please don't fucking go off left shore craziness. Like, I just want to see him do. It doesn't have to be conventional and mainstream. Sure. I just want to see him do something that's back to even Drive sense, where it's just a linear story that I can be like, all right, front to end, I understand what happened.
It reminds me of a lot of like when Darren Aronofsky was going to do the Wolverine film.
Yeah.
I think the one in Japan. I would have loved to see him take care of that kind of material. So yeah, I get your point. Like, definitely would like to see that too. He does remind me a lot of Aronofsky now that I think about it. Except Aronofsky has a little more of a purpose behind his madness. Well,
that's the thing. Yeah, and his characters mean more to him. Yeah. I feel like these are just kind of slates. Like, I don't know anything about them. It's the same with like Ryan Gosling and Only God Forgives. I have no idea like what they're feeling or anything. You know what I mean? Everyone's just like a monotone slate of.
Because all of his characters don't say fucking more than 25 words.
Well, yeah, they're all just there to be like shot and to look good. And again, he knows how to make a hell of a goddamn good-looking movie, a good sounding movie, but. This is, again, something I'll watch again, but not for a while, man. That's for sure. But I recommend it. If you're a fan of the filmmaker, you just watch it, because it's also going to be one of those movies I feel like that could be talked about for a few scenes alone.
Sure.
Just to be in the know. You should probably check it out. But anything else you watched this week, Jamie?
Nope.
No? All right. I rewatched a couple of movies, but I watched for the first time a few movies. One of them.
Did you just wave me off? Like,
yeah, get the fuck out of here. I finally checked out Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty funny, man. It's actually one of my, I would say, gosh, I was thinking of comedies this year.
If you count Deadpool, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, Deadpool.
It's so far removed now. It feels like it's so long ago.
It really does, too. But this is, I think, straight out comedies was one of my favorite of the year. Like, it's really not that well made, and it's really not smart, but it's funny. The two guys, Zac Efron and Adam Devine, have incredible chemistry. Same with Anna Kendrick and Aubrey Plaza. And their characters got a little grating to me. I would say almost all four of them kind of got a little grating to me, but I don't know, man. Their chemistry with each other, and there's a few scenes that you just don't see in a lot of comedies, especially with Zac Efron and Adam Devine, when they're just talking and one of them will say something and they'll just build off that really quickly. You can tell it was in the moment, but it's really funny. Like, it just works.
What'd you think about the Kumail Nanjiani scene?
Oh, that was great. That was really good. Yeah. He's funny as hell.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But yeah, a good little supporting cast. Again, it's not going to,
Yeah, it's just a good time.
Yeah, solid time.
You watched it by yourself?
I did watch it by myself, but it was I actually laughed a few times out loud, which normally doesn't happen again.
Exactly.
So. If you've been like tired of the shitty comedies this year, this one's actually pretty decent and was, I think, probably overlooked. I don't know what this made box office wise, but
average amount. I don't think too much.
I rewatched Fanboys. I hadn't seen this since it came out.
2009?
Well, technically it was, I think, made in like 2007 or something. There was a strange delay and whatnot, but this was enjoyable. I forgot Seth Rogen was even in this movie.
Oh, yeah, Star Trek.
As the Star Trek. Yeah, the movie is about this group of friends. One of them is diagnosed with cancer. He's going to be passing within, I think, a year is what they believe. He's got like 6 months or whatever.
Was it Chris
Marquette.
Freddy
versus Jason. Yeah. So his friends decide to drive to Skywalker Ranch. This place takes place in '98 before Phantom Menace has come out. And there's supposedly a rough cut that they're going to steal so that they can at least show him before he dies and whatnot. but it's so knowing of what Phantom Menace was and became. And what's crazy is the script was written back in 1998. They were going to make it then.
Oh, wow.
And I think it benefited from the years past, like being like, we now know what Phantom Menace is. The last line of the movie, I don't care spoiling it, but the last line, he's like, what if it sucks? It's just a love letter to Star Wars fans. It really is. Yeah. They have a bunch of little trivia points. I forgot how many cameos there were in this. Danny McBride, Carrie Fisher, William Shatner. There's just so many people. It pokes fun at the Trekkie versus Star Wars feuds among fans and whatnot. Again, the production value is pretty shitty. You can tell it was made really on the cheap. And what's weird about it is, though, I feel it's one of those movies that they had a small budget, they made the movie, and then when they were done, either the studio who bought it or whatever happened gave them like extra money for sound, like song licensing, because there's a shit ton of just like famous songs in here from that era that I was like, I'm surprised they got this much money.
Is it Adam Newman, the director?
Kyle Newman.
Shit.
That was good. I didn't even good pull.
I can't remember what else he did. He did something else that was like the same idea, but
fairly predictable, but an entertaining movie nonetheless. Yep. I also watched Changeling. Have you seen this?
Never.
Okay, this is actually a pretty good one. I haven't seen it in a couple of years anyway, but it's set back in the 1928.
Done. Not gonna watch it.
So Angelina Jolie's son is kidnapped. And it's taking place at this time when the LAPD is under a lot of scrutiny from the public. They're really pissed off at the way they're handling certain things. They're like beating the shit out of people and being very corrupt. And so when her son is kidnapped, they return with a different kid and they say, this is her son. And she's like, this isn't my son. And they convince her like, yes, it is. Like he's just grown over this time or whatever. It's been like 6 months since was taken and come back. So at first she's like, maybe I'm just too distressed, and it is. And then she goes home and she's like, no, there's no fucking. So she goes back and like just begs them to like search for her son still. Like she'll take care of the kids. She just wants them to still look for her son because she's afraid that he'll wind up dying if they don't. And it's basically about them then convincing the courts that she's crazy, locking her up into an insane asylum, and she's forced to. And John Malkovich plays this preacher who's obsessed with taking down the LAPD and revealing all their dirty secrets and whatnot. It's just about that, and then also where her son is, like what's happened to her son. And it's a really, Clint Eastwood, man, he can still direct a movie. This was made in 2008, I believe, yes.
I know the years.
It's really crazy. She was nominated for Best Actress. It's a really good performance. Like, it's one of those movies that they're like, she cries. I would say probably every 20 minutes is like a cry scene, but it's like, she does really well. Like, it's just one of those movies a little too much, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, I got you.
Enjoy crying scenes.
What does that mean?
Nothing.
Really well acted. The guy who plays, who's involved with the kidnapping, I guess, I've seen him in a few other things, but he's got some great scenes towards the end. And the score is a little repetitive, I noticed, which is just some strange thing. I noticed it's the same piano melody like fucking 50 times throughout the movie. But really well shot, perfect setting and location, production design, like really well done. Cool. If you're a fan of Mystic River, that type of Clint Eastwood, check it out.
Mr. Eastwood.
And the last one I checked out was The Shallows. I rewatched this on Blu-ray. Yeah, I hadn't seen it since theaters.
Home?
Yeah, I watched it.
Is that why there's tissues everywhere?
Dent! I love shark movies.
Oh,
It's the shark, not Blake. Blake, ew, dude.
Ew, right?
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds, ew.
Really good CG. I like this movie. Very effective, simple premise. She's stuck on a rock, can't get to the shore, sharks in the way. I watched the behind the scenes though, and they were describing, I didn't realize, I guess, how difficult it truly is to shoot on the open water. I didn't know how much of this was CG, by the way, the fake backgrounds. Almost all, like half of it's CG backgrounds, and they did a perfect, I didn't know, I really didn't know, because they shot half of it in a tank, half of it on the open water, but there's nothing to keep the camera still, so they would literally build like essentially like tripods underneath the water that would go up 20, 30 feet up to a platform so they could set the camera on top of it. Like crazy shit to like, they're like, how are we gonna do like...
You can't steady camera shit?
No, you can't steady. It's like where they were shooting and the power of the actual ocean. There's no like, like every character that's ever in a shot is being held by scuba divers underneath because it just drift. Like there's never, and there's no way to possibly keep any sort of continuity between shots. So it's like, yeah, it was really impressive. Like, I guess maybe I might have liked it more because of that after I rewatched it. It's like, god damn.
So like, no pets, no kids, and now no water.
No water, dude. Don't shoot on water.
Open water. I want to see behind the scenes of that now.
Yeah. Who knows, dude? Who knows? But that's all I watched. So let's move on to the Blu-ray pickups. The Purge election year.
Oh, cool.
I was gonna maybe wait on this till it dropped in price, but I figured where it's October, Halloween, I'd like to watch it. I like the first two enough. The first one's actually kind of shitty. It's got that great premise. The second one improved on that premise a little bit, and from what I hear, the third one's the best of the trilogy so far. It really capitalizes on what the Purge could be. And these movies, they kind of remind me of like the 80s where they had like horror movies had premises and like they didn't put a lot into the acting or whatever. Like these movies are for the most part fairly poorly acted and whatnot. The characters aren't that good, but they have a cool premise and they just, I wouldn't say that they knock it out of the park, but they're able to, like there's no other genre I guess that you could put this premise in and have it work.
Sure.
Like to have all crime legal, including murder for 24 hours, like for 12 hours or whatever over a night. But yeah, this one takes place in the election year, which obviously does now. It's very, they have something to say, despite it being hammered over your head and, being the most blatant and poorly written. At least it has something to say amongst the violence. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what, I don't know. I find these movies kind of entertaining just because of the craziness of it all. So I like the premise a lot.
I wanted to see them. I haven't seen the second one either.
No, yeah. What's cool is the first one, was very small scale in the house. Basically a horror movie. The second one's almost like an Escape from LA action thriller with Frank Grillo as the lead, who's badass. I love that actor. But anyway, yeah. So I'll be checking that out soon. And one that I'm finally glad to get was An American Werewolf in London.
Oh, nice.
This is the remastered edition that just came out. There's a bunch of documentaries and making ofs on here, so I can't wait to get into that. But yeah, man, we gotta watch this sometime. This is a really good, my favorite werewolf movie ever, but like, just a good transformation scenes. And I remember watching some of this stuff on TV back in the day, because I remember when they used to have like the making ofs, they used to play that on HBO or people were obsessed with how movies were made. Now I think we've lost that magic because everyone knows kind of.
Right.
So they don't really put them on anymore. Yeah. Or you can look it right up on the internet. But I remember all the time as a kid like loving watching those behind the scenes things that they play on TV. But I remember they had a whole thing with John Landis about how no one wanted to make this. He wrote this before Animal House and all, before he got famous.
Wow.
And no one wanted to make it because it's literally, I would say, half comedy, half horror. It's really a great combination of those two genres, and at the time was completely revolutionary. No one knew what to do with it. And after Animal House and Kentucky Fried Movie, he was able to, and Blues Brothers, he was able to, they were like, do whatever you want. If you want to do a horror movie, do it. And it turned out to be an underrated, I wouldn't say it was underrated at the time. Now it's kind of gathered that cult classic status. So yeah, definitely a movie I plan on revisiting soon, dude. But that's all I had for Blu-rays. Movie news and trailers, Jamie.
Got some stuff going on.
Dude, this was a good week.
It was pretty good, yeah. If you like dumb shit.
Come on, man.
No, speaking of earlier, Mark Wahlberg, Patriots Day, and we'll get to Deepwater Horizon later, but we saw the trailer for Patriots Day. Pretty cool trailer. Like, again, Mark Wahlberg's the cop police, Boston police.
Yep.
He's getting ready for the day. He put his little, looks like a crossing guard, jumpsuit on before the Boston Marathon, and then, of course, the bombing happens, and he's like...
Lots of shaky cam, and then it's like piano doing like the Star Spangled Banner or some patriotic theme. I can't remember off the top of my head which one it was.
Well, I just saw the news today that don't fucking understand it. It's Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross doing the score for that.
For Patriots Day?
Yeah.
Wait, like the movie?
The movie.
But it's not in the trailer. Their score was in the trailer, right?
I'm saying they're doing
That's awesome, though.
What they've only done the past 3 films were all Fincher, right?
Yeah.
Social Network, Gone Girl, and Girl with Dragon Tattoo.
Yeah.
So this is a weird pairing: Peter Berg and Trent Reznor. I'm not sure why.
Very strange. Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
I wonder how this gonna sound. I like that story. I like where they're going to take it because I understand it's about the bombing, obviously, but then it kind of divulges into how this town shut down and was like, we're going to fucking find this guy, and they did, and that's awesome. Great supporting cast: J.K. Simmons, John Goodman, Kevin Bacon, I think was in there too. Yeah,
every Boston movie, Kevin Bacon's got to be.
You've got to be in there. So yeah, this looks pretty authentic, pretty good, and yeah, if it's as good as Deepwater Horizon or Lone Survivor. Be good, dude.
3 for 3, Peter Berg. We just watched it before recording. Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales.
Yep.
Javier Bardem's the new guy, Captain something something.
Yeah, I couldn't tell because he was like fucking whispering like a snake or something in it.
They try to make a little comedy at the end. Please, would you please tell that for him?
Yeah.
Please. It's just really weird.
It's really weird.
No Jack Sparrow. It's just a wanted poster. He's like, tell Jack Sparrow that death's coming straight for him. And to the guy who was in the
Brandon
last one?
Thwaites, who I think was in the last one. I don't remember.
Who was
The
in Love, That
mermaid, right? I
think so.
I don't like this guy. I'm going to come out and say it. I don't like this guy. He was in The Giver. He was in The Signal, which I haven't seen, and actually could be the only good movie he's been
Single?
in. There was, what the fuck? He was just, Gods of Egypt. He was also in, like, I just don't like this actor. From what I've seen so far, he hasn't blown me away. Not that, again, that this matters for this trailer, but I just want people to know. This Brandon isn't a fan of that Brandon.
Well, he'll.
Brendan Fraser, though.
I said Brendan, not Brandon.
Yeah, but come on, dude, it's close enough. I got a back tattoo of him.
All right. What's it called again?
Furry
Vengeance?
Furry Vengeance, yes.
God
Miley Cyrus. You should look that clip up if you can. But yeah,
great film.
they're really playing this up. Like the first, I don't know, minute of the trailer is just like, and it's just like everyone knows it's a Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Like no one gives a shit. Was anyone caring about this?
I don't know. And the co-directors have never heard of him before.
I mean, better than Rob Marshall, I guess, who did the last. I hated the last one.
That was terrible.
And I didn't like the third one, but at least it was watchable. Like, fourth one was pretty terrible. So yeah, I had no interest in this, and yeah, they're like baiting me this long whole thing, and it's just like I get it. The long pull out of the skull at the end. It's like I don't think this series holds that weight anymore.
No, not at all. Should have stopped at 3.
They really should have stopped at 3.
But
yeah.
then on Stranger Tides made a lot of money worldwide. So
yeah, I'm sure this will too, but. So our argument's moot. But I don't know. People are like getting a little smarter. Alice in Wonderland sequel, that one tanked this year. Like you're one of the movies that you're like, how the fuck did that make $1 billion? But clearly there's an audience.
It was obviously a fluke.
I would say this year is probably one of the better years for audiences, at least being like, we don't want shitty movies. I mean, like a lot of the shittier movies wound up tanking.
Chloe Grace Moretz must love making remakes of horror films.
Yeah.
She's done Let Me In, Carrie, Dark Shadows. Now she's attached to star in the Suspiria remake, which we tried watching last year for Halloween, but I got a Netflix DVD copy, and it was like this small in the screen.
It's like worse than VHS quality.
This small in the screen behind me. So it's just, it was fucking terrible. And I've never seen it. I've always wanted to.
I know, me too.
But I don't know. I just don't know why they have to remake all these horrors. Like, just release a good version of the Suspiria so I can watch it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's ever been out. Like, it's impossible to find.
No,
it's Italian Blu-ray. I think you can
I was gonna say, I think there's some Blu-rays of it. Yeah, there may not be an American release of it yet.
Come on, Shout Factory.
Yeah, please. That'd be awesome.
We did get word of a live-action adaptation of The Lion King. Yeah. Favreau.
Jon Favreau.
He killed it with Jungle Books.
Yeah.
And that looked beautiful. So if they can do this justice, I'm down with that.
I wonder if they can even call it a live action, if it's probably all going to be CG characters. And I doubt they're going to, what they did in Jungle Book was they created the environment. I don't see the point of them going out to some African location to set up all this shit, to do all these crazy, if they're just going to add it later. You know what I mean? Like they can create it photorealistic, so just do it again. Like, call it a CG movie, I guess.
I guess it's just a CD remake. A CG remake, I would say.
Now, we've also been confirmed that some of the songs are going to be ported over. I'm hoping that they have a mix. I liked the Jungle Book where there was the one scene of the singing. Animals singing like that, like the way they look, is just weird to me. Yeah. Like I don't. It doesn't marry over like the animated style to live action. I don't want to see like the tigers and lions singing "I Want to Be King," "Born to Be King," and all that shit. Like I don't want to see that.
They don't have lips.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to see that. If they have like Circle of Life and Can You Feel the Love Tonight, the music that's in the background of these movies, like that's awesome. Like that'd be great.
I don't think I just Can't Wait to Be a King would be fitting for this.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's going to be slightly darker, more like the Jungle Book. Yeah, and so originally when I heard all of these remakes were coming, like I was so against it, and Jungle Book really changed my mind on what these things could be, I guess. So
I have a suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
They hire James Earl Jones and Jeremy Irons back.
That'd be cool, dude.
They got great voices.
Matthew Broderick, dude, we need him back.
Let's just have Jonathan Taylor Thomas as adult Simba now.
Yes.
Not young Simba. What is he doing now? Nothing.
Nothing. He's with Jake Lloyd in prison somewhere.
So, but that's the news, really. That's all we have for trailers and stuff. Did you have anything else?
That's all I had, man. Lion King, I'm excited. I'm pretty pumped about that. That thing could be cool. I'm thinking, 2018 or 2019 release?
Yeah, at least 2018,
Yeah. All right, man, let's get on to our topic, true life events and the movies surrounding them. Which ones are good? Which ones are bad? I think we're just probably going to do good ones.
I would hope so.
Yeah. I can't imagine there probably aren't a whole lot of movies that they trust with filmmakers to fuck up, you know what I mean? I can't think of a lot of true life movies that are so terrible. A lot of them are very unfactual or like factually false or whatnot.
Right, or glorified to make it better.
Yeah.
I'm going to get right out the gate with the one that I think is the best.
Okay.
One of the best. I haven't, honestly, making this list, I haven't seen a lot of these, which is weird because I'm not a big fan of, like, I guess that's true life stuff in a way. But Lone Survivor we talked about was great.
Yep.
My favorite is Argo.
Yeah.
Because Argo not only spoke to how bizarre that situation was, the government fakes a making of a film to go into Iran during the Iran-Contra fiasco and to retrieve their hostages that they have from the U.S. back and bring them back home. And I love not only the idea of how crazy it was and how they pulled it off, but they used film industry and tied that in. It's like really cool. Alan Arkin, John Goodman's in there, Scoot McNairy. I like everybody in that cast. Like it's a really good cast, and I fucking love that movie. It was such a cool idea.
Really good.
Action packed, tense,
and entertaining, funny too at times too.
Yeah. Argo, fuck yourself.
Yeah, really had it all.
Best line of the movie.
Yep. It's interesting, yeah, because I didn't want to tie in biopics or movies that were based on people, so it was hard to pick, like, is the Social Network based on the event of the Facebook being created or more Mark Zuckerberg? So I kind of just steered away from those and went more for events.
I'd say it's Zuckerberg. Anyway.
So I thought The Big Short was actually pretty good, and it covers the disaster of that. And I'm going to include that because it's so specifically tied to 2008 and that crisis. Yeah. Granted, it takes place over like a year or two, a year and a half or whatnot, but great performances, really well written. I liked how Adam McKay was able to just put a fresh, original spin on such a depressing story. You leave that movie like fucking pissed off at what happened and how everyone got away with it.
Yep. True story. Another one I liked was Selma. It was in a way a biopic. I like, we talked about this before, but biopics that are a small point in somebody's life. But it was more about that bridge, that event and that bridge and events leading up to that event. Where he was supposed to speak, right? Like, it's been a while. But it was a really good movie. David Oyelowo, can't talk. David Oyelowo is fucking great.
He needs to get more.
He looks like MLK. All the President's Men.
There we go.
Never seen it.
I mean, neither.
I always wanted to, but it's about the Watergate scandal. The two guys that uncovered that. Deep Throat and all.
Dude, Titanic. What?
I mean...
Do you not like Titanic? What are your thoughts on Titanic, actually?
I think that is... based on an event, but they made a complete movie around it. It's like saying Remember Me was based on the 9/11. No, it's about some fucking weird story they threw into 9/11.
There's a whole like hour and a half of the ship going down, dude. I feel like that's based on the Titanic. It's based on the ship, you know what I mean? Ship of Dreams. I'm gonna count it. It's based on a true event, and dude, really brought Leo to popular mainstream audiences. So if anything, it did that. Okay. And he's king of the world.
Fine. I'll give you that. A couple based on an event.
Yeah.
United 93.
Yeah, dude. That's
World
a solid.
Trade Center.
Yep.
Kind of stuff.
Yep.
Apollo 13.
I was just going to mention that. Yeah, Apollo 13. Houston, we have a problem.
It's so hard to find the line of distinction between like biopic and event because there are a lot of events that are tied to a certain person. It's a very small event, but 127 hours.
Yeah.
Was a true event, a bizarre true event about this guy's life. It's technically a biopic of that guy's week or whatever, that 127 hours.
Yeah. Same with like Captain Phillips almost. Like it's based on, it doesn't really show you, the backstory of this person. It's really the day this terrible thing happens. And so do you categorize that as a biopic or a true event? It's very hard. I get what you're saying.
I'm the captain now.
I am the captain now.
Very similarly, Erin Brockovich. It's titled after her name. It's about her, but it's also about this water case, this town getting all sick and everything. I would say it's more of a biopic, though, even if it's an event. Sure, because,
I guess it's really hard, because I guess it all depends on how, does it have to be a full life for it to be considered a true biopic? I don't know.
Sure. I mean, as one that started this idea for me when I first wrote down last week was Sully. He just came out recently.
Sure.
It's about his moment in time, but it's also about a crazy event that really fucking happened.
Yeah.
Like the real version of Flight, essentially.
Yeah.
And I can't believe that shit. It's like those two movies are like life imitates art.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Weird.
When I think of true event stories, it's usually tied to something like a Deepwater Horizon, where it's a disaster or some natural disaster. One that I really liked was The Impossible. Ewan McGregor and Naomi Watts, directed by J.A. Bayona, who's going to be doing. What did he just got a huge gig?
So he's doing Monster Calls, but he also he's doing Jurassic World.
Jurassic World 2, yeah. It's based on the tsunami that hit. I can't remember. Maybe it's like 2004. I think it takes place, and is kind of centered around this family, but it's more just about the entire like craziness of that event.
Sure.
And yeah, most disaster movies never based on true events, because you don't particularly care to watch thousands of people die in these Batman Superman fighting.
Then there are films too that are like about a span of time that it's an event, but it's also like an epidemic. And what I mean by that is the one I thought of as Zodiac. It's about those killings. It's not necessarily about anyone in particular. There's some detectives, I'm sure, but it's just a bizarre like mystery tale that they've never resolved. So it's a really cool idea. I mean, I like that, but well directed, by the way. Little Fincher action.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I would say that, when you're watching a movie, I often, when I see in a trailer or in a movie that I'm watching now, I will wait till it's done. But I like to Google like what actually fucking happened. Like what is this? How much is based on true events? Because there's so many. It's so funny when you read the language that they describe it in, because some is based on a true story, some is inspired by true events.
Sure.
There's very different ways that they can get that this kind of happened. You look at a movie like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it says inspired by true events, when really the only thing that happened, Ed Gein didn't kill anyone with a chainsaw, and it was more of just like he ate like he did things with skin, but nothing compared to what happened. So it's very, they can definitely get away with a lot by just saying inspired by true events.
Especially back then, because people believe that shit face value. It's like, oh my god, this is terrifying. That's why it was like one of the most terrifying movies of all time at the time.
Yeah. Because
in '74, what the hell have you seen?
True, but even the 2003 remake claimed that as well. Yeah.
Sure.
That trailer, dude. I love watching movies now that I've seen the event take place. Normally, growing up, or in most of my movie watching experience, all of these events that have happened are what take place well before I was ever born. So now that we're getting to this area where I remember this shit. I remember seeing news reports on this. I remember, being in where I was told this happened. You can associate yourself with that, and it kind of gives it more of a
resonance.
Yeah, it resonates more. It's more emotional. I feel just because I remember living through that. It wasn't that long ago. So I think we're gonna be in an interesting time here where they're gonna continue to make those, because we're getting old as fuck, dude. Immortality.
Coming in 2050.
Yeah.
After we kill ourselves. That's all I have.
I was going to say, that's all about I have. But please, let us know in the comments, what are some of your favorite movies based on true events?
I'm sure we missed some.
Oh, we missed a shit ton. There's really no quantifying this, because it's just endless searches.
Obviously, watch us here, subscribe, like we love to comment. We have a couple people we talk to regularly, Chris and Mike.
Yes, please, guys, let us know.
So, yeah.
What you're liking, give us some recommendations. We love that stuff. And stay tuned, because we're going to have, in the coming weeks, some interesting developments on the future of the show, where we're taking things. It's pretty exciting, pretty crazy, but we want to keep it going. So please, enable us, support us, let us know you're watching, so that we can keep this going.
Give us our needles.
Give us needles. Oh my God, Jamie.
Metaphorical needles.
Metaphorical needle. Yes, dude. Jesus. We got 6 likes.
We got 4 likes, though. So, yeah. That's Brandon.
That's Jamie.
We need movies.